best friend bought me a ring light, so this video should be a bit better quality than the first one, until I get to my new phone, and the videos will be even better quality still. I didn't want my second video to be heavy. I'm not feeling in a mood to get too deep into a mindset of deep shit. And I couldn't put my finger on something that I actually wanted to talk about that doesn't involve shit being deep. There's definitely something that's screaming at me in my room right now, and it's this picture that I drew that I actually mentioned in the first video, when I was trying to communicate with one of my ex-partners about how they made me feel, and I can't stop staring at it, but I just don't think it's the right time to talk about that now, because it's extremely deep stuff, and I would like to have a lighter-hearted session right now. So I'm going to talk about drugs. Oh, there's good and there's bad, and I think the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I don't think the whole concept of it is actually talked about. Of course, they're not good for you, they are not good for your health, they are not a great lifestyle to be living, it's damaging for people around you. There is so many poisonous and acidic features to them as to how they can dissolve you as a person and your life. However, I think the reality that needs to be talked about is the why we do them. And as mentioned in my first video, the reason why I'm doing these sessions is because the amount of people that I get crossing my path that just aren't aware of stuff, it's just, to me, it's obvious that things just need talking about more, and that's exactly what I'd like to do. I would like to spread awareness of the things that we weren't really aware of when we were kids, and I would like to make a change in our society, even if it's just by a few people, because it spreads over time. The reason I'm talking about stuff like this now and doing this video, or these video sessions even, is because I've seen other people do it and how much it helped me. So hopefully it spreads and sparks more ideas in people to just change for the better. Like, not even change, grow. I'd like for people to grow. So we're going to talk drugs, and I believe the biggest misconception people have when they think about people doing drugs is that they're scum. I used to do drugs. I used to do so many drugs, and I don't know if that's going to shock people that watch this. I'm quite open about it and have been for a long time. But I know that people absolutely adore me, and if that isn't one big example just to set off with, then let's obviously go into it deeper. And I'll go in again for my experience as to why it might help people understand it a bit more. So my understanding of drugs is that for me, it was an escape. It was a distraction. But at the same time, it was also adventurous, and it was also a huge part that taught me eventually what I didn't want in life and how I didn't want to be, because it showed a lot of colours that I could be, and I was able to recognise that over time and be like, that is definitely not someone who I want to be. And I had to experience that first to understand it, because it's all well and good saying to someone in black and white, oh, do you want to be a good person, or do you want to be a bad person, or do you want to be this, or do you want to be that? But until you've gone through experiences, you can't really grasp it and really know, to a degree. So for me personally, I don't know exactly what I was trying to... This is a lie. I'm saying this out loud now and I'm realising I do know exactly what it was that I was trying to escape. It was society and the life that I was living. I didn't have a bad life. I've not had a bad life. But it's quite clear to me now, with me feeling so aligned and so fulfilled and so happy in what I'm doing now, and my now understanding of society, that growing up in a society surrounded by people that didn't think like me, that couldn't see the logic in how like disruptive everything was, I know now that my inner self back then was actually yearning for that. It was yearning for an escape of feeling trapped. And that's how I felt. I felt trapped. I felt uncomfortable. I felt, oh, look at my body language now. It's like, oh, I'm going into it. It's like, I don't want to be here. And I was looking for an escape. I was looking for a distraction. Like, the whole mentality of being in school, Monday to Friday, day after day, learning things that weren't interesting, they weren't feeding my soul. I was surrounded by people that weren't secure in themselves. I wasn't secure in myself. Life wasn't fulfilling. We were tainted by ego. We were tainted by eating disorders. That was a big thing. Like, because of like our appearance, we were so in a world where your looks and boyfriends and girlfriends and being popular and all these things were so prominent. And I'm saying this now, and I can't believe that for someone like me, who a lot of people in school, I know this, a lot of people in school would never have thought that I was insecure. And at the time, I didn't think I was either, because I was so openly myself, and I spoke to everyone, and I wasn't ever shy, and I got on with everyone. Like, I didn't have a clique specifically in school. I spoke to the geeks, I spoke to the plastics, I spoke to the moshers. Like, I spoke to everybody because I'm a connector. I want to connect with people, and I never had that. It's definitely come from my mum being so open. I never had that feeling to categorise people that weren't worthy of speaking to, which I'm so like thankful for. But internally, there was obviously deeper insecurities and deeper uncomfortabilities where I didn't want to be in that life. I didn't want to be surrounded by those people. I didn't want to be experiencing the reality that I was in. I was looking for an alternative reality. And I think personally, that is where my drug experiences began. And I can probably say this for most, that is 99.9% the exact same for everybody else that gets into drugs. Because, yes, peer pressure is a huge thing, but internally, if you don't actually really want to, like, if you haven't been taught, or if you haven't grown feeling strong enough yet, or the confidence strong enough yet to go, no, I don't want that, there's an element there where you actually want to, like, you want to escape. You're trying to self-soothe, which is the mentality that I'd like to shift. So I began this video by talking about people's perception on people that do drugs, druggies. I'm laughing because I remember trying to justify myself not being a druggie because we only did this and we only did it in the people's company that we did it with, and my mentality even then was against people doing drugs, even though I was doing drugs. And it was because again, insecure and not being honest with myself of what I was actually doing. And I remember at the time, my perception on a druggie was someone that was like on the streets injecting and being like proper sketchy and that kind of thing. Like I had a judgement on it. I was sat there doing it myself, not injecting, but like sat there doing drugs myself. Oh, the freedom I feel right now of being able to just openly speak about this is great, by the way. Not feeling like scared if anyone's going to judge me, not feeling like, oh fuck, what if someone finds out? Like that feels great, just to express that. So the point I'm trying to get to is even my mentality back then was very narrow-minded, and I was putting people into categories, and it was not healthy. And something I'd like to make people aware of is that many different types of people do drugs, and probably the biggest reason behind it is that they're trying to escape their life somehow. I feel like if that's understood, it eases it a little bit. It eases people's judgment. It gifts people deeper understanding that people aren't just dirty little druggies. People are going through shit. And that's definitely a mentality that I feel we need to adopt more. Understanding why people are doing what they're doing. That is one of the biggest things I really want to spread. For people to gain deeper understanding of people's behaviour. Their own included. That's what these sessions are for me to spread awareness, for people to understand themselves and others more. So, what I would like to suggest for you to gain even just a small piece of growth, next time you feel yourself judging or about to judge someone or spit out an observation of someone, just stop for a second and ask yourself this. I wonder what's so bad in their life that they're trying to escape. Because I guarantee that is exactly what they're doing. They're trying to escape something in their life that's too difficult to move through at that time. I'd like to also lead to self-soothing, because it's a self-soothing mechanism. And deeper from that, I'd like to touch on the understanding that, again, I feel isn't very accepted. Self-soothing is very beneficial for us, I believe, and I also believe that there's nothing wrong with it. It might take years, and it might be something like drugs, it might be something like eating, it might be something like just completely zoning out and not doing anything with the life. It might be shopping, it might be porn, it might be exercise, it could be good things. Self-soothing, from my understanding, is a technique that we use as a coping mechanism when we're not in a fit state of mind to physically and mentally be able to process something and work through something. Our beautiful, beautiful, amazing minds and bodies do this magical thing where we find a means of survival, which is what self-soothing is. And I think if you're able to separate those two things of doing drugs is bad and understanding that self-soothing can come in many forms, if you're able to see it from that kind of perspective more, it then again just gives yourself a little bit of growth, a little bit more open-mindedness. Because let's take it back to being a child again. If you're a child in an extremely toxic environment, would you want that child to be sat in pure terror? Or would you want to help that child, or would you feel better knowing that that child had something to help it just even feel a little bit better, a little bit better? Our own bodies do that for us. Our own bodies are our mothers. Our own spirits do that for us, and they're taking care of us. And it might seem from the outside so easy to just go, oh dear, why not do it? But realistically, it's a self-soothing technique, and I believe there's nothing wrong with it. However, what I'm trying to do is make people aware of that there's knowledge out there for people to understand that is what they're doing. When you understand yourself and understand what's actually going on, it's then when you're able to make changes for the better, and when you're able to move through things with a little bit more ease and a little bit more support. So if there's anybody watching this that feels like they're stuck in a rut, let's say, or if there's anyone watching this that knows somebody that's using drugs as an escapism, it's good to know that isn't just accepted as your life. Like, it's good to know that is something that you're using as an escape. And then when you know that, you can start asking yourself questions, or asking them questions, or suggesting these questions to them. What is it that you're trying to escape? What is it that you don't like about your life? What is it that feels, like I was doing before, like that uncomfortable and that scary, and that door that you're trying to escape? And if you're not ready for it, then that's fine. That's got to be accepted as that is okay too. You can't put pressure on people to just know things, and for things to just click, and for them to just do something about it now. Why haven't they learnt yet? And it's been years. Like, if people aren't ready, they're not ready. That is something that I can't even explain. when it's time for something to click, it will click. You can't fast forward to that understanding. There's no shortcut to that. And I believe like things like these videos, whoever these videos reach, there'll be just a something, even just like a seed, tiny little seed planted, where that might just be the start of where their journey begins for whenever they are then ready to have that click. So I would like to, please, ask whoever sees this video to try and gain just a little bit more understanding from the things that I've said about our mentality as a society and the impact that that's having on people that are actually going through stuff. The things that we see, we are taught very, very quickly to judge, and that it's wrong and that they should be looked down on. And that's definitely something that I'd like to see change, because I understand that that stems from us not understanding it. So hopefully this has been a little bit of food for thought. Also, I'd like to say I welcome any questions, if you'd like to ask any. By all means, if you have me on any of the socials, just drop me a DM, as the kids say. I can say that because I'm 30 now. But yeah, hopefully it's given you a little bit of food for thought. Not something necessarily too deep in how I've spoke on this video, but again, more of the kinds of things I'd like to spread awareness for. All things mentality, all things helping our younger generations evolve more, with more knowledge that we might not have had. All things positive growth.